Saitama has done it. For the first time since the battle with Cosmic Fear Garou, he has proven that he is the fist that goes against God. Nonetheless, as Blast and Void teleport away together to the dimension in between time and space, they are met with a horrifying sight: the Kirin, another one of God's divine beasts. Even Void's like, damn Blast, you actually killed that thing? However, that's not true. As Blast says, it's obvious who really did this: Saitama. And let me tell you, right, this is crazy. You see, the Kirin is a mythical creature so rare and pure that it is believed to be a sign of the arrival of a great leader or wise man. And it just so happened to appear before Saitama of all people. And going by everything we've explored today regarding what Saitama symbolizes in the war against God, that makes sense. In fact, the Kirin is thought to be so gentle that it doesn't even hurt the tiniest of bugs. Sound familiar? Likewise though, the Kirin is also stated to be the most divine and powerful beast of them all, where if evil is present, it will burn it away. Just like Saitama, who one-shots this Kirin sent by God straight back to the Shadow Realm. Let me explain. You see, God turned Earth from a completely dead rock into a planet full of evolving species because he wanted to build a system where he could slowly manipulate humans into freeing him by guiding their evolution. Over time, he made sure that humanity would keep growing and keep advancing, but never without struggle. He wanted them to crave more power, to fight monsters, and to develop desires that he could take advantage of. This is why he gives powers to monsters. He's tempting people who are desperate, angry, or full of hatred, amplifying these emotions, turning them into his weapon, all by highlighting their flaws. Something which Void actually pointed out. I mean, just look at Garou. God preyed on his flaw, which was to seek out absolute evil, disregarding what was important to him along the way. Thus, God may well give you power, but it comes at a phenomenal cost: the surrender of oneself, your free will. But here is where it ties back to Saitama. Dr. Genus explained in chapter 88 that every human has something called a limiter installed upon them by God to prevent you from evolving too fast or becoming too powerful on your own. Psychos also talks about this. She had a vision of how all of humanity was being guided from the very beginning. She even sees Adam and Eve being manipulated by a snake that looks just a lot like Orochi, and that is no accident. It is a sign that God has been there all from the very beginning, using people's emotions and desires to move humanity closer to his end goal. When someone breaks their limiter the wrong way, like Garou did for example, they lose control. Their bodies mutate, their minds fall apart, and they turn into monsters. But Saitama, he did it the right way. No shortcuts, no special powers, just 3 years of insane discipline, training, pain, and pushing himself to the brink of death. And that is how he broke his limiter naturally. Thus, where God twists people by feeding into their flaws, Saitama embodies something purer, a human being who doesn't break under pressure and doesn't change for power or seek validation. I mean, remember, he is a hero for fun after all. Every punch from Saitama reminds others of their humanity and the fact that your flaws don't define you, it's how you confront them that does. Which would have fit perfectly into the previous version of this arc, if I'm honest, before the redraws, where all the research into demonsterization discovered that a person's humanity and psychological state was the key to fixing them. But oh well, I guess. All Blast cares about is that his best bud is back to normal again, as he rushes in to comfort him. Likewise with Sonic, who just so happens to lead with his blade first. Nonetheless, the two move faster than the eyes can see, but that is nothing for Blast, who's able to step between them with pinpoint precision and stop both their blades with his fingertips. And it's here that he reveals that the horrible life the Ninja Village had these kids living was merely due to God. Void never intended for such a grueling regime to be built. Thus, Void's flaws of untrustworthiness and greed spilled over into his ninja disciples, except for Sonic and Flash. This is because, whilst they would hate to admit it, they are great examples of the ideology Saitama preaches. They are genuine heroes. We even see it in how Sonic tells the ninjas to live life as they please by training hard. That right there is the difference. When the ninjas were under Void's, aka God's control, they weren't training for themselves, but for God's plan. Whereas now, Sonic is telling them to train for their own lives, to live their own lives. Unfortunately though, they are all simps for strength still and can't help but gravitate to the strongest person in the room. And so when Saitama recommends something as completely ridiculous as strength training, as if that would help them catch up to these god tier characters, they can't help but kind of shut up and listen. Nonetheless, with Void ready to now return to the front lines in this war against God, the ninjas can't just sit by and wait. They have to do something. They have to defeat this divine being that was manipulating them. And so they tried to elect a new leader, but yeah, that goes about as well as you'd have expected it to, really. Thus, even if they don't believe his training methods, they turn their attention towards the Caped Baldy. All because, as I said, Saitama's fist does what it always does. It helped them see the flaws in their ways of life. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell. And whilst you're at it, you may as well enjoy more peak fiction by clicking this video on your screen right now.